Hello, whoever is watching at the ESA winter submission verification process, whatever it's called. I'm LoveBot. This is Yoshi's story for the N64, although played on Nintendo's Wii Virtual Console. Quickly, there's a little bit of, because we get this question a lot, why do you play on this version over the N64 version? And you could say it's mostly a preference kind of thing. There's roughly 2 seconds of time save by playing on the Virtual Console version over the N64, so it's quite minuscule. That's for any percent, by the way. I'm gonna be running Melons all lap here, which would have a little bit more time save playing on Virtual Console, but it's so minuscule that the leaderboard doesn't split up or anything because of that. So I will be playing on Wii, and it also comes with the nice addition of being able to play on a GameCube controller, which to some people is a huge plus over the N64 one. But there's a lot of small things to explain about this game, so I'll just be doing that as we go along. But yeah, as mentioned, this category is called All Melons One Lap, and essentially you beat the game once, just like you would on any percent, but we only get melons, which is the game's kind of hidden hard mode. There's 30 melons per stage. You need exactly 30 melons or 30 fruits to beat the stage. And most of the melons, as you'll see when we start, are in very tricky positions and require pretty good gameplay in order to just get casually even. So let's get started. 3, 2, 1. First of all, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the level structure in this game, because it is kind of strange. The game is like a pop-up coloring book or some other kind of children's book, and each page will have 4 levels you can choose from. So this first page will have all 4 levels unlocked for you, and you're able to pick whatever. We pick 1-1 because it's the fastest level. Moving on the 6 other pages, or the 5 other pages, 6 in total, you can only select levels corresponding to how many power hearts you picked up during the level. And you'll see me be picking up some of those during this level. We'll do that on every single level. Those are essentially, what unlocks the next stages for you. Small mechanics, optimizations that you might have seen me do. Some might know what I'm doing, some might not. There's a technique in this game called dustless ground pounding. And it is what the name implies. It is a ground pound where you don't get the dust animation. And the dust animation adds about 40 frames of input lag, where you're not able to control Yoshi at all for those 40 frames. So for places where we need to ground pound to reveal a melon, like right here for example, we want to do a dustless ground pound just like that to minimize how long it takes to do that. Essentially, this game is all about moving to the right, and while there's no technical end to the stage, everything is towards the right. So like most 2D platformers, you go to the right the most of the time. If you can not stop, that's obviously best. So that's why dustless ground pound can be a huge time save if you manage to pull them all off during a stage. And this has actually gone pretty okay here for this stage. You have about 10 frames to pull off a dustless ground pound, so there's a pretty good chance that you'll miss them from time to time. But yeah, that was the first level, 1-1 treasure hunt with all the melons. And this is another question we get a lot. So what do you get from eating all the melons? That. What you just saw, that little animation of Yoshi standing in front of a melon, that is what you get. When playing the game in the normal way of just eating whatever fruit you want to eat, you just get Yoshi standing in front of a heart. And that's actually not even a thing on the Japanese version of the game, which is the original. On that version, you can only get the heart animation. And that's it. That's all you get for getting all melons. And it's probably the most common question to be asked. Like, why do this category? And you could say the main reason to play this category over any percent is that it's significantly harder. It is a quite unforgiving category to start out with, I'd say. It has taken me months getting to a point where I feel like I'm ready to submit this to your marathon, and I feel like I'm ready to do that now. I've been grinding this, as mentioned, for months. That's unfortunate. That was the first mistake so far. So that melon came back. The thing is, melons in this game can, to some extent, if they're from a minigame, if you fail that minigame, that melon is permanently gone. Which is why, as I just mentioned, this category can be very daunting for people to get into, and it's a very not so safe category when you first start out. Because of the fact there's just a chance that you'll despawn melons, not technically being able to progress the run and call it a all melons run anymore, because you then have to pick up some random fruit. And that's another thing that people sometimes don't get, is that you cannot spit a fruit back out. So if you see me accidentally eating a banana or something, I can't do much other than just continuing my run for the sake of finishing the run. And, you know, say I made a mistake and, you know, the run is technically not valid anymore at that point. But it's not like you like come to a stop and the game just won't progress anymore. You just kind of have to come up with a rule for yourself saying that, yeah, I might not have gotten all melons. Here we have a pretty big skip called the lava skip, and hopefully I get this. That's fine. Taking that damage there doesn't kill me. So the thing is, lava in this game is a one-hit kill. Except for the fact what you just witnessed. I took damage before hitting the lava. That means I had like iframes going into the lava, so I didn't die. Yeah, this is like the first instance of the stack'em, that's what I call it anyway, the melon stack'em games. They can be a little bit tricky at first, especially the last one in the run, but you'll see when we get to there. This is not so hard. That little optimization I did in the beginning though, of jumping onto the information block and fluttering up to get all the blocks off screen, saves maybe like a second. And it's not something I'd recommend doing right away when you start running, but it's a pretty easy optimization to work in. That's the main thing about this game, is teeny tiny small optimizations. You have a few bigger skips like the one you saw me do with the lava. Especially the next stage coming up, Frustration, has several of those types of skips. And while those like cut out a pretty significant portion of the level, this game is much more about very, very small optimizations. Another technique I actually forgot to talk about during this stage, because it was I used it a lot on Rock's Boiler, which was the stage we just did. It's called tongue jumping. And essentially, this game, if you hold down A, like after you initiate your jump, if you don't let go of jump, like Yoshi jumps higher than if you just pressed it, you know, for a short amount of time. But if you spam B, which is your tongue, as fast as you possibly can while holding A, you gain more height. So you can clear a lot of gaps you're not supposed to. And here's the first skip I was talking about. Okay, we got the bird bounce. That is a little bit sketchy, because I don't think it's RNG. I think it's based on how high or low in the air Yoshi is when the bird is loaded in. But quite often the bird will be in a position so you cannot bounce off of him. So you get a little bit of a slower skip there. That row of Shy Guys is deceptively hard. You get one shot. If you miss at all, they despawn. If you only kill, like if you don't kill one of them, the melon won't spawn, so on. So while you can do that in what we call a neutral X shot, where you don't aim or anything, you just run and shoot, there's a really, really big chance that the run would just, you know, I would miss that melon if I had gone for that trick. That is a trick we use in PB attempts, surely. But for stuff like this, I would not take that half a second time gain and risk, you know, not being able to get all the melons on this stage. This melon is tricky. Okay, we got it. Those melons, like, over the pits can be quite bothersome. And here, we can actually whip our tongue. There we go. So, you cannot stick your tongue directly through solid objects in this game, but if you extend your tongue in another direction where you are able to stick it out and then angle it, you're able to stick your tongue through objects and cut out, you know, having to go around and so on. This melon stack minigame is very hard. Hopefully, I'm gonna take this a bit slow. There we go. There's a much faster way of doing that where you're running, there's a full speed running, and going to the bottom path to avoid the snake, but that is very, very risky, and I would never go for something like that in a marathon, because I would lose 7 melons if that happened. But okay, this is the midway point of the run. This boss is called Don Bongo, and it's a little bit of a meme on my channel because you'll see, but he has some very, very beautiful and kissable lips. And he's just a cute boy. It's our big boy Don Bongo. Okay? That happens sometimes, and I can't explain why, but the egg just bounces off. But there you go. Big lips Mac Kissin, as he's also known as. In my head anyway. But yeah, that was the first half of the game, and arguably like the easiest part of the game, like this run anyway. Moving on is the next stage, Jungle Puddle. Jungle Hut is the 80% level for this page. Jungle Puddle, and it has one main mechanic which is very, very difficult to work around when you just start running. And there's a big fish, like a big cheep, that will insta-kill you if it touches you. We don't have to worry about that for the first page of the level, but for the second page, it's there. And this game, or this level, also contains one of the hardest minigames in the entire run. So this level is a huge reset point for many runs. You just get one quick egg there to get the power heart. This is the one and only time we'll get to see like water and swimming animation for this run. There is more water stages. There's 2 more water stages that are being played in the all levels category. There we go. That's a little bit sketchy getting that melon because Yoshi can sometimes just whip around and get the apple instead. Yeah, so far pretty good. This is definitely a scary level, and here we have to be a little bit fast because we're in super happy mode right now, which is kind of equal to like star power from Mario. And I need to make this cycle here. This is bad. Yoshi kind of clipped through the bottom. I might not make this. Okay, I didn't make it. No biggie, I just have to go down here and get the melon. What I tried to do there is, if I'm fast enough, while Yoshi is in super happy, his tongue is much longer. So you're able to, as I explained earlier on frustration, you're able to fully extend your tongue, whip it around, and like face it through solid objects. So getting that one melon there can be done very optimally, but sadly I didn't make the timing. It's very tight timing. So far this is still very good. But here comes what I would say, probably in my opinion, the hardest minigame for the run. You could argue that when you're starting out, the very last minigame on the last level is very difficult. But once you learn it, it's not that hard. The hard part about this one is doing it fast. So I'm gonna take this a bit slow because it's a very big chance of failure if I do full speed here. But you'll see, you can see why this is hard. You gotta jump so many times with the stack. And yeah, that looks easy when you just do it slow. But one thing most people get not confused about, or like surprised about when they start playing this game for the first time, Yoshi's movement is very, very awkward. He's very slippery, very floaty in the air. It takes quite a while. Ooh, this is bad. Okay, it takes quite a while to get used to. But yeah, you saw the big red fish first. This is the blue one. This is the worst one because he will also, like, besides insta-killing you if he touches you, he also pushes you around like that with the water. And you can easily lose a PB run just due to time loss that it takes from, you know, getting pushed around. But yeah, almost done with this level. Just gotta push this box all the way over here, which is boring and slow. Not much to say here. I have to push this box down on that. Get my power heart. Now I just need to get my last 2 melons. And that's actually lucky, the fish moved. Okay, I almost got pushed away. But so far really good. So, next stage. This is the big one. Shy Guy Limbo. About a year ago, it was discovered that on this stage... So, okay, quick explanation. On this stage, Lucky 2 will be in the beginning, and he has roughly 10 to 15% chance of dropping a melon for you. You need 5 of his melons in order to get all 30 melons for the stage, and it was thought always that that's completely random and we can't do anything except to just get to this level, hope we get the good luck, and maybe we'll PB. About a year ago, by Dan Salvato, it was discovered that it's completely manipulated, like you can manipulate the RNG 100%. It's not been fully routed yet. Right now the entire melon community is doing it, trying to route it. But let's see, I jumped at a very specific point there. Ground pounding. That's melon 1, that's melon 2, that's melon 3. Okay, that's melon 4. This is really, really good right now. This is beautiful. So those 4 melons got manipulated, right, in the beginning. This 5th one, since I don't have the route for the 5 melon strat yet, there we go. It essentially becomes random at that point. But you are almost... Okay, let me just get that. You're almost always guaranteed the 5th melon by this point, which is where we want it by. Here, I want this melon, and... Beautiful. Beautiful. That was the one thing I was most worried about. There is some backup strategy we can do. If we don't get the favorable RNG manipulation, we can technically despawn Lucky 2, finish the stage anyway, and once we finish the stage, loop around to the beginning, respawn him again, and do it all from the beginning. So it is technically routed as marathon safe now. Which it wasn't really before, because it was all down to luck. Now it's very, very controllable. Which is very cool. Like, I've had so much fun routing out the RNG manipulation over the last few days. So I feel very happy about this category and this run in terms of submitting it to you guys marathon now. There we go. Got a hidden melon there. That's one thing that's the hardest part, in my opinion, about learning melons category is remembering all the hidden melon spots, because they're not intuitive at all. Okay, second page of this. There's no more RNG, no more manipulation, no nothing. This is just technically like quite difficult for the rest of the stage now. No major hazards of death and stuff. I shouldn't say that because I'm probably gonna die, but usually the rest of this stage is just a matter of playing it really well. Because it can be done very, very quickly, if done correctly. Okay. I need Lucky 2 to die. Okay. Did I get this melon? Okay. I almost had a heart attack there. We're fine. We're fine. Okay. Get that row of Shy Guys. This is a very exciting run for me right now. This is going quite well, actually. Yeah, we're just about to finish up this stage. There's just one hidden ground pound melon on top of this cloud. And then 2 melons from 2 Shy Guys here. Or 1 Shy Guy and 1 bubble. Oops. No big deal. There we go. That was Shy Guy Limbo. Actually, quite... Like, we got the RNG manipulation. Very, very favorable. And the last 5th melon, we got that under like pretty good luck condition. So far, this is looking really good, actually. Oh, and one thing I completely forgot to talk about. I reset the console after each stage because once you've beaten the level, the game wants to show you like a cutscene that takes roughly 30 seconds where you can't click or do anything. On the American version of the game, which I'm playing now, it is possible to just reset the console after each completion, and you then skip that entire cutscene sequence. Okay, there's a little bit of a skip trick here in the beginning. Hopefully I get it. I'm gonna focus and... Okay, we got it. So, me zooming in here, it's a little bit of a weird thing. Okay, there's a few things to it. One, when you zoom in the camera, Yoshi cannot run anymore. He can only walk and jump. So that's why I was jumping all the time there. But cycles in this game are loaded in based on like where Yoshi is in relation to them. But it was discovered again quite recently that if you zoom in the camera while moving in that specific segment, you load in the salt blade cycles later to the point where normally you'd have to wait behind the blades and walk behind them. With that zoom in strat, you can skip through all of the blades, and that went perfectly. This room, I'm gonna take the safety checkpoint here because it's like a falling room and I have to grab melons on my way falling down. And if I miss them, the only way to get back is if I took that checkpoint. So, in sake, like for marathon safety, I'm definitely taking that on a run like this. But so far... Ooh, I missed that one. It's fine, I'm just gonna wait a bit there. Alright, so far so good. And I didn't even mention, we got the key real quick from the like semi-mini boss enemy in there to open this door, which we saw in the very beginning of the level. So now we looped around the entire first portion of the level. Here I'm purposely damage boosting. This is not the fastest, absolute fastest strat, but it's a very secure way of getting these melons here, and it's very comparable like in speed to the fastest strat, which is jumping over. So that room went really clean. This entire segment, this entire room has no melons, so this is just a matter of getting past this as fast as possible. A little bit of tricky platforming. Okay. We're good, we're good. So, this is the last, or one of the last bits of the game. It's an auto-scroller, which was very recently, like again, a lot of discoveries for this game was made recently, and this is completely skippable. But it is undoubtedly the hardest trick in the speedrun. Not even done by like the world record holder yet. Ooh, this is bad. Come on. So, it is not recommended to go for this. And it only saved, I don't know, 10-15 seconds. I'm not there yet with my PB. Okay, we did it. So now, one last hurdle of the entire run. The last melon minigame. It is very difficult to learn in the beginning. Once you've learned it, it's honestly not too hard, but you'll see what I mean here. So this specific melon minigame, or all the melon minigames from page 6, like these ending levels, are like this. You have to stack all the blocks one by one manually. That is the hard part. The actual minigame afterwards is not that hard. It's that part, getting this stack. Once you've done that, it's just a matter of taking a little bit slow here, getting all the way up. There we go, beautiful. That was the last bit of game. Now we just have to beat Baby Bowser, which is honestly quite the pushover. Come on, I just want this melon. Okay, there we go. Not a bad run. This is like pretty much my PB pace, to be honest, because we can save a lot of time in this stage. Actually, I had enough X to not get this happy heart, but... So normally this game wants you to pick up bombs, shoot bombs at Bowser, do all these things. We don't do that. We're speedrunners, we found out it's faster to just do this. And that was Baby Bowser. That was Yoshi's Story for the N64. All melons, one lap, done in just about 22.5 minutes. I am very pleased with that. I'm very pleased with that. So yeah, just as finishing thoughts or whatever, I'm super thankful that you guys keep putting on these amazing marathons and we get the chance to submit runs for them. And I hope that this was at least somewhat interesting or piqued people's interest at the event, because there we go. I'm just very passionate about this game and I've been running it for non-stop for the last 7 months. I have not put down this GameCube controller. So yeah, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to submit my run, and I hope to see you at ESA Winter. Peace.